This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by potentially the next star of the heavyweight division, Delicious Orie, over Zoom. Delicious, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for pronouncing my last name right as well.
No, I had to make sure I get it right. It's something I'm very
Uh,
particular with. How's life? How are things going for yourself at the minute?
Life is good, yeah, man. Life is very good. Training, I'm one of the, I would say, the lucky, few that are able to carry on training and carry on sparring like normal. And so I'm very, very, very grateful for that. But yeah, just I'm in a good position. Training, learning from very, very good, great fighters that I'm working with at the moment. Obviously with Team GB and the rest, so it's great.
Now, Delicious, this is your first time on the Boxing Social channel, at least as far as I'm aware. I know you'd have given interviews about your background and your story so far, but I want to kind of go over that myself and hopefully find out a few things that maybe others haven't. One of the things being that we actually grew up going to similar areas. Um, we can come on to all that later, but just kind of take me back to your early life, Delicious. You've got such an interesting background, what I've read, your mother being Russian, your father being Nigerian. Just take me through your upbringing.
So upbringing. So born in Russia, born in Moscow, and grew up there, lived there till I was 7 years old, and then my parents made this come over to kind of start afresh, start a new life, and seek great opportunities that the UK has to offer. So yeah, I would say that's my early life, and obviously, I grew up here, um, played different sports, fell in love with basketball, and then in my late teens turned into boxing.
What was it like, obviously, growing up with, like I say, your mother being Russian, your father being Nigerian, two very different nationalities, two very different kind of cultures and ways of life. What was it like having
Mhm,
parents from
mhm.
those backgrounds, and what kind of followings or teachings back at home did your parents tend to kind of put onto you? Was you more of a Russian upbringing or more of a Nigerian upbringing?
To be honest, I was born in Russia, and I would say I was somewhat early life raised in Russia. So yeah, I would say most of my proportion of, if I had to, if I had to say if it was more Russian or Nigerian, I'm definitely both, but I had more of experience of in the Russian side. But I've been to Nigeria, I've been there a good few times, and I there understand the culture. Again, it's a completely different culture, different family. But then again, people are people, and when you have family, wherever it is, they will love you, they will embrace you. So from both sides, I've got great family, and in both countries. But yeah, you're right, definitely different, and I feel like that's allowed me to be very open, open-minded to different cultures. The way I approach, my nan in Russia would be different to the way I approach my nan in Nigeria. It's just different because obviously they have different values, respect, and the culture is different. But it's all about being open and just respecting different cultures.
Delicious. One thing which I haven't been able to find out about yourself is where your name comes from. It's certainly not one which I've heard before, may never hear again. So what's the background behind, obviously, the name?
To be honest, that was my dad's decision. That was my dad's call. My mom actually didn't know what delicious meant when he called me that, because obviously she was starting, she was in the beginning stages of understanding the English language and that. And then when my dad called me that, she just thought, okay, let's go with it. A couple months later, she actually found out what it was, so that hit hard. But no, that's my dad's. To be honest, he always says you'll find out why in the future. Blah blah blah. That's, to be honest, I still don't. I don't really. There's no real deep thing meaning behind it. It's just he just thought delicious is the name, and that is the name I've had to go with.
Have you questioned him on it since yet? Have you tried to find out why he chose that?
Well, I've just kind of had to. I just deal with it, don't I? I just think, what, that's my name, so I just no need to question this.
Well, mate, listen, it's a great name, certainly.
Thank you.
Just kind of moving forwards once again. When you did come over to the UK, Delicious, how did you find trying to adjust and adapt to a new way of life?
It was, I remember, when I was about 7 years old, I was in year 4. So that was my first kind of year in the UK at school. And, I couldn't speak a word of English, straight Russian. It was completely different, the way, just everything was different, the culture was different, the class was set up was different, the way you make friends is different, just everything was different. Um, Even little things like when I was at that age, noticing that there's other people that are of different backgrounds to in the same class as I am. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds strange, but back in Russia, like in kindergarten and that, everyone's Russian. I definitely felt like I was different. And when I was here, when I came over here in the UK when I was younger, I thought, wow, there's a lot of variety of different kinds of people. And yeah, definitely at the beginning it was difficult, but to honest, trying to pick up English and trying to understand it and stuff like that. And but I feel like as a kid it's easy to pick up a language, and I was very much into it. I picked it up quite quickly actually, and yeah, just a couple of years it was difficult, especially from the front of making friends and trying to fit in, because I was so different from a different kind of culture and background. But over time, you kind of just get used to it and you fit in, over time naturally. So yeah, that's. But I do remember, I do remember when I was younger, it was difficult. I remember reading books that kids, when I was in year 7, in year 4, I had to read very simple books in order to pick up and understand the grammar of the English grammar and all that stuff. So, which is completely different to Russian. So yeah, it was difficult, but I picked it up in the end. I got there in the end, and yeah.
Listen, I remember when, growing up, and I imagine it's the same for a lot of people. Sports is a big thing and it brings a lot of people together. Was that one thing which you felt you had on your side because you was able to participate in sports? It made things maybe a little bit easier for you transitioning over to the UK.
Yeah. I mean, when I came over to the UK at around that age, I never really had a sport. I wouldn't say necessarily sporty as a very, very young kid. Like I'm talking 6, 7, 8. I just, I just followed the crowd, do what those days, man, playing football in the playground and just playing. But when I hit about year 7, year 8, that's when I thought, I'm not actually that good at football. Let me try a different sport. So I got into basketball and I really, really enjoyed it. And like you were saying, again, yes, the basketball community here is amazing, and I wasn't able to express myself verbally as a child with my English and all that. But I could do that through, like you were saying, sport, and basketball in particular was amazing. When I was 11, 12, I was able to join these communities that really accepted me, and we just got to play the game, and it was great. And I really developed as an individual and as an athlete in basketball. So yeah.
Talk about your basketball background, Delicious, kind of the levels and the feats that you reached and why you opted to stray away from that side to move into the world of boxing.
Yeah, so when I was about 10, 11, I started playing and I really, really enjoyed it. So I just carried on. I had dreams of, wanting to go to America and play and stuff like that. And I just honestly I took it so seriously. Obviously, I was studying as well, and I took that part of it seriously, because of my parents. And I've always been told as a younger, you need to make sure you study. Education comes first. So that's always been on the top of my priority. But basketball, I kept that as well at my top priority. So I made sure I trained hard, consistently as well. Um, but when I hit about 17, 18, just after sixth form, that's when life really hit me, and I was thinking, what do I do? Like, what do I what do I want to be in 10 years time? And I thought, if I carry on playing basketball, if I want to carry on playing basketball, I have to move to the States, or I have to move to the to Europe to play. But I was in the middle of, do I go or do I stay? Because I want to get education, a proper education here in England, kind of tick one of my parents' goals for me, which is to, be able to graduate the university here in England and really take my education seriously as well. So I thought, maybe there's a different sport that I can do, that I can do both simultaneously. I've always wanted to box as well, but I would say my parents and just the people around me, I never really got the opportunity to. I never knew anyone that boxed. Schools don't really include that in their curriculum. So I never really had the opportunity to box. But when I was about 17, 18, I decided to take it upon myself to, just go try it out. And that's when I first saw AJ on the big screen when he won his first world title. And I was like, I want to do that. This looks good. I want to do that. I didn't even know the difference between amateur boxing or professional boxing. I didn't know anything. I just thought in my mind, that looks really good. And, he's done that, I want to have a go and, and achieve that. I walked into an amateur boxing first time at the age of 18, at the end of 18 actually. And I just told, want to be a boxer. And then they taught me the difference between amateur boxing, professional boxing. I did further research into obviously the guys that are doing amazing, the heavyweights that are doing amazing, especially, like obviously AJ, George Joyce, all of these guys. And, they've all got quite a similar history in terms of starting quite late. So I took that on. I thought, let me have a go and, see what I can achieve. 4 or 5 years later, here I am now on the same journey, on the same path.
Delicious. Just before we delve a little bit deeper into your boxing background and journey so far, just one thing you mentioned is your studies and the importance that your parents put onto you, that you maintained a certain level of that, so you had something to effectively fall back on if your sporting career didn't work out. What were your studies centered around? What was you studying at the time as kind of a backup, effectively?
So when I was young, I've always known that I would go to uni. I've always known whatever happened, always graduate because of my parents and because I've been told that from a young age. From what I didn't obviously know, because you don't really know when you're 10, do you? But I've always been involved in business. So I've always studied business since like year 7. So I decided just to kind of follow that path, and I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy business and money and all that stuff. And I just obviously just concentrated over the years, through sixth form, and then I decided economics because I also enjoy maths. So I decided to just take economics at university, and honestly, the best decision I've made, and it was a great course that I was able to do very, very well in, and take it on as I progress as a professional.
Delicious. One thing we know is, well, but off camera, we spoke about kind of, we know similar people, some of my friends, and you went to school with them. Moving forwards at university, what university did you go to, if you happen to say the same one as me?
I went to Aston, in Birmingham.
Yeah, so I went to Birmingham City University, so still only
Aston.
down the road.
Oh right, okay, yeah. That, you know what, that was literally next door. That was one of my options, local, because it was at that point where I was transitioning basketball and boxing, and I found a gym in Birmingham. I thought, let me, and I moved up here. I moved up to Birmingham as well, and I said, let me focus now on boxing and uni, and that's all I did for 4 years straight. And then obviously now I finished, and I'm obviously just focusing on the boxing side of things.
Well, Delicious, it is a small world, as we said earlier on. Just with kind of
It
your
is.
studies, a final thing, was you just kind of a hardcore student, very focused on everything, or did you enjoy the stereotypical student life at all?
I'm gonna sound so boring, but I was just straight hardcore. I didn't. I am not a party person. I don't drink. I don't do any of that. I don't like parties. I don't like alcohol. So it was just literally my life. And I had a very good flatmate as well, who typical students who like to go out and stuff, but they respected and understood my situation, position, and that. But literally, my life consisted of like waking up, training, going to lectures, coming back to my uni halls, probably having something to eat, going to train, going to go to lectures again, coming back, going to train. So I'll train 2-3 times a day, and I'll study. That was it. That was for 3 to 4 years. It was just very boring, but it's paid off. Half of it's paid off with the uni stuff, and now the boxing, I'm gonna keep going.
Delicious. Listen, the one thing I can say is you are far from boring with your background story and what have you, and obviously what you could go on to achieve with your life. Yeah. One thing I want to touch on as well
Yeah.
is kind of your athleticism. I've read somewhere that you're something like 6 seconds off GB Boxing's best ever 1 kilometer pace. Do you want to just kind of uh, fill me in on that?
Oh, well, am I 6 seconds off GB's? I didn't know if that was. To be honest, I don't know. I'm fairly close, but yeah, I'd say. To be fair, you put it like that. That's kind of mad. uh, through the box, through the basketball side, you know, I grew up with guys 6'5", 6'7", who are much faster than I am, much more athletic, higher, all of that stuff. So growing up, it was just normal to be to be big, and to be just athletic, to be able to run up and down in however many seconds, the basketball court, to be able to, beat the next man onto the ball. So running, it wasn't much. I never did road work, as playing basketball, but the thing, and training was just the thing that you did to, you have dreams of jumping really to be able to dunk. So you train in so little things like that, and that naturally allowed me to become an athlete. So convert when I did switch into the sport of boxing, like I started noticing that there's super heavyweights, that there's heavyweights at my who are my height and build, who are not as fast, or who are not as athletic. But if you look at sports like basketball, it's normal. Everyone, if you're 6'6", you can jump, you can run. So I'd like to say that I've took that over from the basketball to the boxing. It's helped me tremendously. It's helped me out a lot in the sport. So very thankful for that.
Delicious. Just to pick that one back up there, obviously just kind of having a few technical issues with the video. We've talked about your athleticism. How key has it been for you got effectively your transition from one sport to another and in boxing, and how much do you feel it benefits you? Because we're starting to see, and we've seen a lot of people in the sport who have a different background in another sport who are transferring over now. How beneficial have you found it?
It's been massively beneficial. Like I was saying before, when I was playing basketball, it was only natural to be able to run quick in order to become a good, effective basketball player, in order to score points and all that. So when I transitioned into boxing, I realized that, oh, you need to do road work. I've been doing that anyway, in a form of playing basketball. You need to do certain weight training. Oh, I've been doing that anyway in my gym sessions in order to compete in basketball competition. So it was a great advantage for me, and I was just literally able just to switch that up from basketball to boxing, and obviously pick up the skill element of boxing, which obviously you can't pick up in basketball. But in terms of the athleticism aspect, I'd say basketball's helped me tremendous amount.
talk to me about kind of your first experiences in the boxing gym then, Delicious. How did you find them when you first stepped foot into a boxing gym?
When I first stepped in the boxing gym, in my mind, this is before I even hitting a bag in my life or even throwing a punch in my life. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna be the best, and that was it. Like I didn't never even threw a punch before. I don't even know how to fight. I was like, I'm gonna whatever this is, I'm gonna be the best at it, and I'm gonna. I went in there. I didn't go in the boxing gym saying I'm gonna give it a go. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I just got in there. Before I got into the gym, I said, whatever, however hard it is, however long it takes me, I'm gonna just be the best at it. So when I got in there, I found out the difference between amateur boxing and professional boxing. Um, I decided to go through the amateur boxing route, and I gave it a go. It was weird, obviously. Couldn't skip, couldn't throw a punch. For about 2 months, it was just me shadow boxing. So I wasn't really, I won't say allowed, but I was put away to just shadow box and get my form right for about 2 months. And I didn't spar till about 5 months in. So it was just the repetition, the same thing over and over again. Just had to throw a jab again, throw a jab again, throw a 1-2. And then I was able to move that to the bag. And then I was able to move that in sparring about 6 months later.
For as
So,
cliche,
sorry.
sorry, Delicious. I was just going to say, for as cliche as what it may sound, practice makes perfect, and for as kind of frustrating as what I imagine it being, you being told to just kind of shadow box for as long as what you were.
Mm.
Do you can obviously feel and you can see the benefits of that now. What was it like going through that process back when you was first training there?
Um, Looking back, to be honest, I wouldn't say it was frustrating. Obviously, at times, repetition. If you're doing something for about 40 minutes, you get kind of bored of it. But the my vision kind of outweighed that. I've always had that at the back of my mind. This is gonna make me better. This is gonna make me achieve what I want to achieve. So I'm just gonna keep doing it. I had complete and utter faith in the coach at the time who was giving me the instructions to do it. And I was just thinking, if this is going to make me better, I will just stand there for hours and hours and hours, and I'll just do it. And so I wouldn't say I was frustrated. I was just the vision outweighed the frustration or the ability, like the chance of me getting bored.
So Delicious, just kind of talk to me about your route into the amateur scene now, and obviously joining up with the GB team. How did you kind of find that path, and how have you found the journey so far?
So I started. My first fight was with Jewelry Quarter Boxing Club, which is in Henrietta Street Gym in Jewelry Quarter in Birmingham. So I started there. I was about 4 months into that gym, and then my coach said, "Okay, we'll get you into a competition." And ever since then, it was just competition after competition after, like, it was just like constant. I'd box maybe it will be tournaments, but say if I just averaged it out, it would be like maybe once or twice a month. So I'll just keep constantly entering competitions and tournaments. And I obviously got better and better as the competitions went on. When you start, especially the first bout, you think you can take on anything and take on everyone, but then you get humbled in boxing. You start to realize that it's 3 threes is difficult. you know be in the ring for a minute is difficult. So but over time I got better and better, and and I would say I adapted to it. And yeah, so about 3-4 years boxing, entering competitions, and in my fourth year I entered the ABAs, and I was able to win the national title.
Delicious, talk about your time with GB. Then, how have you found that, and obviously training alongside some terrific fighters?
Mm. It is, I can't even put it to words. Like I remember when I had my assessment for the first time, I walked into GB. Like, I was very much like overwhelmed. I was thinking, this is because I was doing a lot of research on it as well, and you'd see videos on Instagram and social media about it on boxers training in there, and you think in your mind, this is the place. This is that to really improve and really progress and really be that world class athlete. This is the place where you learn. So when I was there in assessment, I was very much overwhelmed with all the people, the boxers that, I was able to, talk to, the coaches. It's great. And yeah, when I was able to get on properly and officially, I was over the moon. And till now, till this day, and in the future, I know that it's the place for me, because I'm surrounded by like-minded people who just are 100% dedicated, and will do whatever it takes to be the best and to be at the top. And I feel like you need that, as much as you can do. Obviously, boxing is an individual sport. You need like-minded people to keep your mind there, and to kind of just think to yourself that it's normal. Being the best wanting to be the best is just a normal thing. Everyone wants to do that, and we got to work and we're going to train. So, being there, training 3 times a day, which is what I did before anyway, but now it's just normal. Everyone does that. So I just think this is where I belong. This is where I belong, and this is where I'm going to develop.
Delicious, what are your plans with regards to the amateur scene? What would you like to achieve, and for how long can you see yourself sticking around for? Because I imagine certainly when COVID hit, it may have even crossed your mind, should I turn over now? Because the Olympics for everybody else who was going or had the trials coming up, that was all postponed, and that puts everything back for yourself and your thoughts on the amateur scene and when you would get your opportunity. What do you
It's sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to say,
Sorry.
what do you see as your ambitions within the amateur scene?
For me, it's never crossed my mind to turn pro. It's just never been in my radar. It's just because I'm aware that boxing takes years, and it's a martial art. It takes years and years of dedication and practice. You can't rush into the game. You just can't unless you want a quick in and out. Or I want to leave something. I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave something that's meaningful. In order to do that, you need to put the time and work in properly. Well, that's what I'm saying that like I've said it to you. That's what I believe. That's personally what I think. Obviously, people have different paths. They make decisions. Their decisions, and some people's paths are the right thing for them. For me personally, I feel like the way I can do that is through the amateur scene, the amateur program, especially a place like Team GB, who are able to take me on to that next level and give me that world-class experience and training and knowledge that I need in order to then get me at the right path to in the professional scene. So for me, it's like I'm paying my dues. This is me working, getting my head down. So I'm not even thinking about turning pro, because I know you have to respect the game of boxing. It takes many, many years, not even to master it, just to be okay with it at that world level, be a decent level, and I really do respect it, and I'm not going to rush it. So I'm working very, very hard, but I know that I need time. It's all about timing with boxing. So for me, the amateur game is where it's at, and where I know I'll be able to build my experience to then. So when I do turn pro, I'm 100% confident that I've gained that experience, that world-class training experience, in order to then take me to the next level of being a professional boxer. So I'm willing to sit and hold. I don't know, in stocks they call it sit and hold. You just make your investment now, and you wait a couple of years, and then you hit the big returns. So for me, you just training amateurs.
You've got the likes, you've got Fraser Clark, who's the current heavyweight for GB, and then Anthony Joshua, who trains up in Sheffield, former GB team member himself. What's it like working with those guys, and how much are you picking up off them?
I'm picking up. I can't even tell you how much I'm picking up. It's like the words can't describe it. How much I'm picking up. You see, the last year over this COVID time, I've learned more than I have in the past 4 years of me training, and fighting and being in these competitions. I'm not saying that I haven't learned much. I've learned loads over them times as well, but being on Team GB and being on it properly over this COVID period, and being able to spar and work with, boxers like, Fraser Clark and AJ, is, and obviously there's more like, Lewis Williams, all these, heavyweights and all the super heavyweights. They have just kind of given me this mad kind of experience, and to then get me to the next level. I feel like I'm really, every day, every week I'm there, I'm just getting better and better and better, and really soaking up all that knowledge that they have to offer. Especially Fraser Clark, he's been there and done that, and what better person is there to be, to have in order to work with and train with there. So it's great. I'm in the hands of good people, great company, and people that will get me to the next level.
Obviously, I'm sure you've been asked about it plenty of times, Delicious, but sparring and sharing a ring with AJ, what is that like?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, obviously, because AJ, I would say, was the one who made me believe it's possible to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in the sport of boxing. So he was the one who initially kind of ignited the fire in me in order to become the best. So being able to actually step in the ring and actually work with him for his next fight at the time was like, well, I can't even put it into words. That was just some great experience. And yeah, I just there's nothing more I can say than it was an absolute great experience. He's an absolute great guy. Very, very humble, very down to earth. He gives me tips, he gives me advice in and out the ring. So he's an absolute great guy, and a great role model to me.
Delicious, just a couple more things with yourself before I just ask you about a couple of fights which could be happening, may not happen. Um, Talk to me about kind of your life away from the ring. What do you like to get up to in your downtime?
So most of my life consists of boxing. That is what I do 95% of the time. But the times when I'm not, I love to spend time with my family, especially when now I'm at Sheffield a lot more, like every week. And you start to notice, when I come back home, you start to notice, your family is growing, little siblings are growing, your mum and dad are growing, and all this time that you're missing, with them. So as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm getting old now, where I'm saying I really need to spend more time with my family, because this time is valuable, and the time I can never get back. So family time is very, very important to me now. And outside of boxing, I also read. So I read a lot of I read books, when it comes to, books like investment, money. I still like to read books to do with economics and the way, the world the way the world is now, with the pandemic and Brexit and all that stuff. So I do read a little. I'll say a little bit. Most of my time I do spend reading outside of boxing. So yeah, reading, family time. That's my top two things.
Well, if I'm looking to turn some money around, Delicious, I know who to come to. Um, just kind of, like I said to you earlier, I know Ben Whitaker, Galalia 5 personally, who are both Team GB members. I've seen their, their Snapchat, their Instagram videos, kind of, and they always tell me when you're in Sheffield, it's very much like a family feel. You're in a house together, but have like the consoles and watch movies and what have you. Are you somebody? Do you get involved in kind of consoles and the games, or are you a Netflix man? Do you do anything like that, or?
I dabble in a bit of everything, I guess. Yeah, I watch Netflix sometimes. I'll play on the PlayStation sometimes. I don't play as much as I used to. I'm starting to realize that time is so valuable, and the time I have now is really, really valuable outside of boxing. So I'm really changing. Like, for example, when I was on camp last week in at Belfast with Team GB, and I decided there's no everyone has their own rooms, and there's no TV there, so we had to bring our laptops and that. So I thought to myself, or PlayStations, whatever. I thought to myself, you know what, this week I'm just gonna have just books. I'm just gonna bring books with me, yeah, because time is valuable. And then over this week when I'm not boxing, for example, I'm learning instead of just watching something. I can use that time to learn. So it sounds very boring, but normally when I'm at Sheffield, I'll normally just keep myself to myself and just read and learn, with the little precious time I have now, because that's just the way I see it. But yeah, sometimes I do, I'll we'll play, we'll have some fun in games or watch Netflix and that. But most of my time just involves just learning.
Now, just as I said to you, there's just a couple of fights I want to get your thoughts on, Delicious, before I do leave you to enjoy the rest of your Saturday. One thing that I've read up on you, one thing I've been told about you, is you have an unbelievable jab. It's one of your best assets. Another man who is a great jab is Joe Joyce. Your thoughts, Delicious, if Joe Joyce faces Alexander Usyk as he's being spoken about?
Oh, so what you want, like a
A
who
breakdown of
wins
what
kind of
you
thing?
think will happen.
Oh, you want a breakdown of Joe Joyce and oh man, to be honest, I always say, like, heavyweight boxing, you never know what happens. For example, Joyce versus Dubois, that was a shock. Well, but I don't know what happens. I think Joyce does what he does very well, which is jab and just keep pressuring Usyk. But you can't lower Usyk's standards. I don't know. Usyk is is amazing, and I think he's very, very good. So I don't know which way that fight goes. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. It could go either way. Could go either way.
I'm sure you've seen the footage of them fighting as amateurs, Delicious, just kind of
Yeah,
going
yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
pro ranks. How much different do you think it would be if they were to meet as professionals in comparison to their bout as amateurs?
I think obviously the fact that the rounds, obviously longer rounds, that was going to obviously play a massive part on who wins and who loses. Um, if I have to say the longer rounds, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because I could say Joyce would win it. I could sit here and say Joyce win it. He would just keep pressuring him on and out jab him and put him off. But at the same time, I could say Usyk would win it, because he would just move around and evade his shots, and because obviously he's very, very, very experienced. So I don't know. I could go either way.
Final one, Delicious. Again, I'm sure you've been asked about it plenty of times. AJ Fury, everybody wants to see that undisputed fight. What happens if we do see it this year?
I've been asked it so many times. I keep saying the same person, AJ, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you're biased." Well, it is what it is. I think AJ wins it. Hopefully, it happens this year. It'll be massive, absolutely massive, and again, it will inspire. Hopefully, it will inspire a lot more kids to get in boxing and to get involved. Because I feel like that's what it's about. Whoever wins, it is what it is. But really, what's it about? It's about inspiring the younger generation, getting them out off the streets, getting them in amateur boxing clubs, and aspiring to be just like that. So yeah, but if you want a who wins kind of thing, I think AJ wins.
Well, Delicious, we will leave it there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day. Boxing returns tonight. I know this will not go out today, but finally, boxing's
Yeah,
back in the UK with the Josh Warren
yeah,
show. You're going to be tuning in?
yeah. I'll definitely give it a watch. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been ages, hasn't it, without these boxing matches and that. But no, I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm just trying to think in my head for when the last UK show was, and I think
It's
it might
been
have
I
been
think,
AJ Pulev.
was it AJ Pulev?
Maybe
Yeah,
December
yeah.
12th.
I'm sure. No, there might have.
Oh, right,
Is
there was
that?
a Hennessy show, December 19th,
Yes.
Peters Richards.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that one. I think that was the latest one, and the rest was in America, wasn't it?
Yeah,
With
Canelo Smith in America.
Campbell and yes, and
Campbell was.
Luke Campbell, and yeah, that was all America, wasn't it? So I think that was the last show. But anyway, it's been ages. It's been a long time, over a month. So it's about time we got some good boxing going.
100% it is Delicious. In fact, no, one thing I haven't asked you about is Paul Reddy and Sean O'Toole, two brilliant men that I've been speaking to over the past few months. Just talk to me about kind of your
Agreed.
relationship with them and the work that you've been doing together.
Oh, absolutely great guys. Honestly, Sean O'Toole, Paul Reddy, great guys. I met Sean, or I started to kind of know about Sean when I was in my third year, because I worked in a barrister's chambers as a part of my placement year for my degree. And one of my colleagues there made a connection, because I just box, and Sean has things to do with, you know, boxing contracts and stuff like that. So he set us up, and honestly, best decision he's made, best decision I made to meet Sean. Sean's just a great guy, and he understands my situation and my position, and he's just looked after me over the years. And I say over the years, it's been 2 years now, but no, he's a great guy. And Paul as well. He really know, you know, with Paul, he knows what he's doing. You know, there's no beating around the bush. It's just boom, he knows what he's doing. Boxing is his thing, and yeah, I'm very, very lucky to have both of them kind of on my side, ready to take on the world.
Well, Delicious, you certainly are, and everybody's going to be watching with interest to see you reach the top. I appreciate your time, mate, but I'm going to leave a final word to yourself. For everyone who's going to tune in, for everybody who will follow your career from now on, what would you like to say to them?
Ooh, I'd like to say, keep watching. Just, you see big things. Just give me some time. You will see massive things. And yeah, I'm not here just to kind of have a couple pro fights and that's it. I'm here to really, really make a mark, especially in the heavyweight division and the professional scene, and make people really know the name around the world.
Delicious, it has been a pleasure to speak to you for the first time. I'm sure it will not be the last. I'll keep in touch, and best of luck with the rest of this year and, of course, the rest of your career. Thank you, Speed to Boxing Social.
Thank you very much for having me. I really do appreciate it.